Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be closing out our budget for May, but before I close out for the month, I'm going to go ahead and close out our bi-weekly paycheck budget from May 14th, and then go ahead and do our month budget closeout. And I'm going to go ahead and update our yearly budget and spending overview as well. That way I'm not trying to catch up later on. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I close out or update our yearly budget as well. So let's go ahead and start with our paycheck number 2 for the month of May. And for those of you who don't know, we do budget bi-weekly. My husband gets paid bi-weekly, so that is just how we budget. And so here, I'm going to go ahead and start off and make sure, I'm just going to go ahead and go in order. Starting with the income, I like to just make sure everything is accounted for and all the income that we did receive is all in here. And those, I believe, is all that we have, which we did get a lot of extra blessings this month because my mom and my in-laws decided to help us out with my son's birthday. And my brother-in-laws also sent us money so that instead of them buying a gift and mailing it over here, they just sent us the money so that we can buy it. We can buy whatever they wanted to buy for my son at the store. So they just sent us money through Zelle. I'm going to show you how that looks in our budget also. And what else? I believe that is it. So we started our income for this paycheck budget at $555.86. That was our beginning amount from the leftover that we had from paycheck number, oops, what am I doing? Paycheck number 1, I forgot I put it over here. So our paycheck number 1 had this amount left over, that $555.86, and a big amount of that was because one of the bills that I thought was going to be due wasn't due until the second paycheck budget. And then we also did receive birthday money and Mother's Day gifts as well in cash. And so we just haven't deposited any of that income just yet. So that's why we were left with bigger amount for paycheck number 2, or that was why our beginning balance was a little bit bigger. Okay, so moving on to the fixed expenses, everything in here is updated. I did decide to add a cushion. So if anything, if in a perfect month that everything went wherever they needed to go, I would have a leftover amount of $100. We didn't pay for our hotel just yet, our hotel deposit, because it's not due until the 22nd on my husband's card. So we're going to go ahead and make sure to pay that off next paycheck budget. We did pay for our flight though, so that's all paid for. I did open a Capital One 360 checking account since we have been transferring money over to our savings account, and it's a lot faster because we could transfer it through Zelle, and it's a lot more instant, I guess, when we transfer over that way instead of waiting the 3 business days for everything to transfer to our savings account. What we did was, let me just skip over to the savings account and do that one first. So the $340 that we knew was going to go into our savings account, we just transferred the entire amount, the $340. And then from our Capital One 360, we went ahead and broke those down into the individual savings accounts that we had. So yeah, and we only transferred for this paycheck period for Christmas, vehicles, the kiddos, myself, and my husband. And we were going to transfer money to our travel savings, but since we did have to spend on our flight and hotel this paycheck budget, we just decided to just take it out of our whatever income that we were getting this month. So what ended up being smaller this paycheck period, we ended up not actually depositing into our house fund because that money instead went towards our travel fund or our travel expenses. So yeah. Anyways, so moving on to our variable expenses. This is the part where it has a little bit more work to do because we have to make sure that all the expenses are calculated in here or accounted for. So let me take you over to our May spending. And so what I did, this is paycheck number 2, right? Yeah. Okay. So this is for tracking period May 14th to the 27th. And so what I did was I just copied the variable expenses that we have on here, just the same way we have in our May spreadsheet budget. And so what I did is ensure that whatever number goes here will get auto-populated into our May budget here, instead of me kind of going back and forth with the sheets. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So I believe with food, I think we still have to update this. So if I double click on here, so these all have formulas. So if I double click, it'll highlight all the ones that I've had already added up in here. So I know my food budget is all in orange. So here you don't see the little dashed box on here. So that tells me that it hasn't been added on here. Here it has all of these. So this one right here, and I think there's one more, and this one right here, because there's 4. So now I'm going to go ahead and add. I'm going to do plus and then minus. And if you saw my last video, I do the minus so that it doesn't, so it just cancels out, so it doesn't come out to like a negative or anything. So let's add that, and then one more, this one right here, and then press enter. And so this is how much we spent for food, $236.19. And if I go over here to my May spreadsheet, it comes out over here as well. That way I'm not kind of doing both, trying to put the same amount on here or typing it out. It just does it for me. And then for transportation, same thing. I don't think we spent anything on transportation. It should still be, actually no, I lied. I think, here, let's double click on there. So it has this one right here, should be 2, and this one right here. And then I know we paid for parking, which is this one right here, and it's not dashed or has a square box around it. So I'm going to go ahead and add this one, press enter, so that gets updated. And then households, I believe we didn't spend any more. It was just these 2 right here, Sam's Club and Target, and that should be it. And then kids, the same thing, just one line. The color coding helps when it comes to doing these calculations, just so you guys know. So I'm not like, it's just easy for me to look at the colors and know. So I think that was it for the kids. And then for my husband, I think his is going to have a few. So far there's been 4 transactions calculated on here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I would add this one right here, and then this one. Out a lot this paycheck period. I think this is the last one. Yeah. So he spent $102.88 of the $150. And I know for sure I didn't spend anything on myself, which is kind of hard to believe because there's been a planner that I've been eyeing, but I think I can hold off and wait. And then fun and events, this should be it because we haven't been spending on fun and events so far this week, as far as I can tell. I last updated our budget today, which is Thursday. And yeah, I don't see any more purple, and that should all be it, which it should be it because we spent $821 on fun and events. For those of you guys who don't know, it's my son's birthday weekend, and I think I've mentioned before that May is really one of our big spending months because of all the festivities and events and birthdays and stuff that goes on. Health and wellness, I think there was just one. It was for my medicine, which after I meet with my doctor in July, I'm hoping I wouldn't have to take this anymore. And like I mentioned earlier, the gifts from our brother-in-laws, I still put it down on here as if we spent it because it did come out of our checking account, but it was money from our brother-in-laws, so we did spend close to the $100 or $5 off, and that I just didn't color code, I just left it as is, but it should be $94.07. Oh my god, our variable spending for the month, holy cow. So we spent way more than what we had budgeted, so $436. And what we were going to do was take out money from our savings fund from our fun and events that we've been saving for. But since our parents both mine and my husband's parents helped us out. My mom gave us 200 and my in-laws gave us $300 to help pay for the food. We decided not to take out from our savings and just try to just make it work in here. And we're actually left with more than what we had expected. Because in the beginning, when I was budgeting this out, we would have had a leftover amount of $2.83. And then now we have a leftover amount of $629.88, which should be all correct. Yeah. So I did find a discrepancy. The amount that I originally had on there was off because I did find it. It was from my husband's. One of them had, which is the I think one of the negative things about the formula. Sometimes if you input the wrong thing, it could totally throw it off. I didn't have a negative in front of one of them, so the amount was wrong. And I knew that because I already had written down how much we have in our checking account and how much we had left over in cash, and it was off the amount that I had here. Originally was like 620 something, I think. But this is the correct amount. $606.72 is what we should have. Now it's all correct. So that is the amount that we have left. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and do the monthly closeout. And it should just be pretty simple because it's just all about just putting the numbers on here on both of these, like adding it up and putting it into the monthly recap section here. Okay, so our monthly spending recap is a total of $5,697.64. Holy shit, that's a lot. So we did spend a lot. I've already kind of expected May to be a high spending month, but it's still pretty high. I just went ahead and put the actual numbers on here instead of the budget amount. I think next month I'll be better at putting the budgeted amount on there. And so now I'm going to see if I can create a chart here. I'm going to go ahead and highlight these. I don't know if you noticed, but I went ahead and made these back into, or I merged them because I need them to be in one column, not over two columns. I'm going to see if this works and see. Oops. Okay, so let's see if I can insert a chart in there, preferably a pie chart, which is what I like to use. Yeah, there it goes. I'm not going to color code it or anything yet for this paycheck budget. Again, I'm still kind of playing around with using spreadsheet budgeting. I love what you can do with it. And I'm a visual person. I love seeing all of these datas all in here. And so as you guys can see, a chunk of our spending this month went towards rent and fun and events. I think next month we're going to focus a little bit more on the savings because this is really low compared to how we usually would like to save. So we're going to work on savings next month. Anyways, so moving on from the monthly budget, now that I've closed this part out, we're going to go ahead and move on to our yearly overview. So let's go ahead and close out our budget here, or not close out, but update our yearly spending and budget overview. So we're going to be updating the May 14th one, and this is the starting balance that we had from the previous paycheck. And if you are new here and if you haven't seen this before, anything that's been shaded already is already done. Everything's all been inputted and everything's been updated. And then whatever is on the right side where it's like white, and then you see, and if you see this bolded areas here, bolded numbers, that means it's just the budgeted amount. It's not the actual amount on there, just because I do like to use this for planning purposes. So back to updating this. Okay, so now that I have everything all inputted into all of my income, fixed expenses, variable expenses, saving, and seasonal expenses, no business expense here. Everything should all total up. So $606.72 is what we do have left over. And that is a combination of cash. So $163.72 is in our checking account. And we still have to deposit some of the cash that we have on hand. It's $443 since the income that my parents-in-law gave us was in cash. We still need to deposit that. And looking ahead for the next few months, so as you guys can see, there's like negative here, negative amount here, and a negative amount here. That's to tell me that I need to make sure I save a certain amount in the paycheck budget beforehand to make sure I cover the expenses coming up in the next month. So that's why I like to budget these ahead of time, just so I know. And usually this kind of lines up with when the expenses that we have are more, when we have rent and other of our bigger expenses due. Just sometimes the timing just kind of happens that way. I'm going to go ahead and just write down this amount on here, and then I'm going to go ahead and set up June's budget. So I'm not sure if I'm going to record that or not. I'm still kind of feeling a little bit under the weather, and I don't know if you guys can tell from my voice. I did get sick over the weekend, and we had our son's party at the park. We were kind of there a little bit later, and it was windy towards the end, and yeah, so me and the kiddos are sick. I don't know how my husband didn't get sick, but hopefully he doesn't get any more sick than how we are. Anyways, you guys, that is pretty much it for this budget closeout. I hope that this was helpful or interesting, especially for those of you who are wanting to get into spreadsheet budgeting. I really do love this system that I've made so far. I'm sure there's going to be tweaks and stuff along the way, but if I have not mentioned before, I do have a copy of one of the spreadsheet budget templates. I will link it down below in case you guys are interested in that. It is not a bi-weekly layout like what I have here. This I just made because that's how we get paid. Maybe eventually I'll make this available for you guys, for those of you who maybe budget bi-weekly. The one that I do have available is just a paycheck budget template. So I'll link it down below in case you guys are interested. So yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much as always for watching, and I will talk to you in my next video. Have a good one, guys. Bye.